Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about AI again. It's always a bit of a contentious issue, so if you had any thoughts about it, you know what to do, leave a comment. Let's have a lovely little argument, yeah? So, AI, right? Some people love it, some people hate it. Tell you who definitely hates it, musicians, especially independent musicians and independent record labels, right? And that has been made really evident this week by a new campaign called Say No To Suno. Some pretty awful wordplay there, but you know, that aside. So what this essentially is an artist rights group who have signed, I think it's like an open letter to presumably the government, warning about what companies like Suno could become, their scale, and their potential effects to sort of devolve the music ecosystem by just adding AI slop and adding AI music at scale, which thins the royalty pool for real artists and for real quality. So, what they're saying is the hijacking of the world's entire treasure trove of music floods platforms of AI slop and dilutes the royalty pools of legitimate artists from whose music this slop is derived. So, they're essentially saying that companies like Suno are able to train they're able to train their models on real artists and then use that to, at scale, replicate the sound of, I don't know, Rihanna or Bad Bunny and make 50 versions of that song and pump them out to Spotify at scale and make money, presumably, right? This also comes at the same time that Suno, who's an AI platform, has just hired the former COO or CEO of Merlin as their, I think, artist partnerships manager is the role. They've already so Suno has already signed licensing deals with UMG and Sony, I believe it is, who cover two of the main major labels. Obviously, Merlin represent a big portion of the independent music sector. Don't worry about this too much if you don't understand it, but basically, what this says that Suno is looking to do is that they're looking to get a licensing deal with all of the music space, basically, right? In order to be able to train their model on not just your Sabrina Carpenters, Taylor Swifts of the world, you know, the big major artists. They also want to be able to train it on the smaller, more independent section of the music ecosystem, which actually accounts for quite a big slice of the pie. But anyway, look, so this is the idea here is say no to Suno, right? So what's being said here, responsible AI generated music must evolve within a framework that respects and remunerates artists, enhances human creativity rather than supplants it, and empowers fans to engage with the music that they love. AI services must preclude mass distribution of slop and prevent fraudsters from destroying the very ecosystem that has been built to reward and sustain artists and audiences alike. So, most people would broadly agree with most of that. But I'm going to question this a little bit and just put forward a bit of a devil's advocate here. Should we be saying no to this? Should we be outright saying, absolutely not, no, we don't want this, we're going to fight against this as much as possible, right? I understand the instinct to do this because if you're a musician or you work in the music industry, you see this as potentially replacing you. The devil's advocate argument to that is that the music industry pushed back very, very hard on MP3 downloads and illegal MP3 downloading, Napster, things like that, right? And it lost that. And the music industry suffered for a long time because they tried to ban progress outright rather than trying to move with it. So we have to accept that AI music is it's here, right? It's here and it is not going away. It's only going to get better. And this article keeps talking about AI slop. That's fine, but the thing is, it's not slop, okay? We've heard some of the AI music that's out there. It's not slop. A lot of it is completely indistinguishable from the music that you or I or anyone could make, right? A lot of the times it's better, okay? This isn't slop. This isn't AI slop. If it was all just slop, then we wouldn't have a problem, would we? The problem is that it's good. And the problem is that consumers might find themselves listening to AI music more than real people. People who are looking for a song to sync on their advert might decide to go with an AI release because they don't have to pay as much. The problem is that this is going to cost musicians money, right? That's the problem. So I instinctively feel like there should be more of an attitude towards working with and making sure that people are remunerated correctly rather than a say no outright attitude, right? Which, to be fair, I do believe this is doing to a certain degree, but I think the conversation should be much more based on, right, how do we make this fair? How do we move with this progressive change rather than just fighting against it? So, for the very little that I know, this would be my kind of three key things that if I was running the world and if I was the head of the music industry, which I might yet be one day, these are the three things that I would be looking for to kind of make this fair and set a precedent for how AI music can be distributed and how it can be distinguished and from real people and not quell the creativity and not quell the technology, but also make sure that artists are remunerated, right? So the first thing that I think would be really important is AI detection technology. Now, Deezer has said recently that they have built this. What this essentially is a platform level technology that when an AI piece of music is put onto Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, wherever, that platform is able to tell, right, that is an AI song, and they label it as such. They label it as such on the platform so that human beings can make the decision of, right, do I want to listen to this AI piece of content or do I want to avoid it because it's AI, right? Detection and labeling is a really, really key first step because that exists on social media, that exists in other platforms and in other places. So I think it's really, really important that we get ahead of that and make sure that detection is really, really clear to start with. The next thing that I think I would make sure is in place is what is happening, which is a licensing deal for likeness. And this would define that any use of Suno or any other platform whereby the prompt says, I would like a song that sounds like Umbrella by Rihanna mixed with, I don't know, Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. In that scenario, that Espresso and Umbrella and all the rights holders of both of those songs get paid for the performance of that song or how well that song does, right? That's how this licensing deal would work, or it would have to work. Again, easier said than done, I understand that. But that is how it would have to work, is that the direct use of a particular song or songs triggers a payment to the rights holders on that release, right? It would be pennies, it would be fractions of pennies to start with, but it would mean that likeness is being remunerated. That's the important thing. And the final thing that I would get put in place, right? Platforms like Spotify, Deezer, Apple Music, whatever, who are able to detect a song as an AI song, and we know that that technology does exist. For that music, there should be a lower royalty rate. In the same way that Spotify pays out less for streams from free accounts on their platform than it does premium users, i.e. people who pay for Spotify versus people who use it for free. In that exact same manner, AI music should have a lower royalty rate than human-made music. Spotify in particular, and we'll use these as the case study here because they're by far the biggest, have said that they don't want to do this because they don't want to discriminate between different types of music. Their stance is basically that opens a can of worms. I'm of the opinion that you need to open that can of worms at this point. It can't be that someone, wherever, can in an afternoon churn out 100 songs based off other famous artists out there and then get those songs onto Spotify in an afternoon and get paid the same amount as someone who writes music and, you know, might take weeks, months, cost them money to make it as well. Because all that does is encourage streaming fraud. All that does is encourage the AI person to just upload as much as they can, send a load of bots to stream that song, and then collect the royalties on that. Whereas if the royalty payout for that AI music was lower, it would reduce the incentive to do this.